Hi everyone, it's Rachel here at Walk the Talk podcast, and welcome to episode number 3. So, on today's episode of the Walk the Talk podcast, I am interviewing twins Lisa and Alana McFarlane, better known as possibly the Mac Twins. They are international DJs, DJing for brands like Hyundai, Diet Coke, Mac Cosmetics and also Armani. And we are actually discussing the subject of gut health. Now you might be wondering why on earth I am interviewing DJs on the subject of gut health. Well, Alana and Lisa actually, they will tell you in their own words in the interview, but I'll give you a brief introduction. They were involved in some twin research on the Human Genome Project and got involved in some gut health research as well, and that's how they got interested in it. And they have now actually started their own quest to improve the knowledge of gut health for the general public and have actually started a business called The Gut Stuff. You can check out The Gut Stuff on their YouTube channel, where they've already interviewed a lot of really top-notch scientists on the subject of gut health, and they are interested in raising awareness of gut health to the general population, just the same as I am. So I thought, what better way of raising awareness than talking to the girls themselves? So the interview is absolutely brilliant. These two girls are actually from Edinburgh as well, and they're a great laugh. You'll absolutely love their Scottishness. Just because they are Scottish means they are automatically awesome, in my opinion. And we just have a good laugh, and we have a little chat about my previous gut health issues, and what interests them about raising awareness on gut health. And it's an awesome interview. So I will get stuck straight in. I hope you enjoy the interview, and of course if you do, please make sure that you leave a review on iTunes. But I will remind you again at the end, enjoy the interview, and I will speak to you soon. I want to do a bit of podcasting about gut health because it's something that I talk about quite a lot, or it's something that I'm going to be talking about a lot more, because I have had horrific gut health for about the past 12 years. And I had a relapse last November, and I'm still trying to fix it again. So a lot of the people that follow me on social media have kind of followed my journey from being really, really quite ill to being, well, I was a lot better. and now I've gone backwards again, but I'm getting there, we're getting there. So I thought I just wanted to talk to a few different people, and I spoke to Jeanette Hyde a couple of years ago.
Yeah, she's great, Jeanette.
Yeah.
She's great.
She's fab, and I did a bit of media for her book when it first came out, and then again when the American version came out.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking to her again later in the week as well, and just wanted to kind of get a few different people's opinions and a few different, just get to know you guys a wee bit and just see, what you have to say on the matter.
Did you do the gut makeover before?
Yeah, I did it in April last year, April 2016. And it was like the complete opposite to what I've been told sort of in the past by various other people. You know what it's like everyone tells you different things.
Were you told to do like a FODMAP type thing?
Yeah, I was put on the low FODMAP diet years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I was put on it in the right way, to the point where nobody ever told me to stop it. So I ended up making...
Well, it's dangerous, isn't it?
I ended up in a big mess because I ended up making myself intolerant to pretty much everything. And got to the point where I was actually shit, I don't know if I can eat this anymore, because I didn't eat onions or garlic for nearly 4 years. And it was
we were talking to Megan Ross about that, and she was saying, because she obviously takes people, she's got a gut health clinic on Harley Street, and she was saying it's insane how many nutritionists that aren't qualified take people through the low FODMAP and don't tell them to come off or reintroduce things, because you've got to reintroduce things quite quickly, haven't you?
Yeah, you do. And I went something ridiculous, 3 or 4 years. without things like onions and garlic and all those good things. It's like, what the hell? And I've only just started to eat garlic again, and that's like, I'm talking 4 years. Like, I couldn't even remember what it smelled like, let alone what it tasted like. And I was like, how did I last 4 years without this good stuff?
I thought, this is what flavour means.
Yeah, like, wow, food can taste really good again.
We're trying to do the gut makeover again for a month because we were away for like all of August in New York eating chicken wings, and then in France eating cheese, and then in Scotland eating shite. So.
Yeah.
We're sort of doing a
mini version
because I can't not have caffeine. We did it fully in January, but I can't not have caffeine. We can't not really have alcohol because we've still got to live the other part of our lives, not just the gut health life. And like, a few things that I just like, I'm not cutting it out completely, especially in September when there's still stuff going on.
Yeah.
But you can sort of like personalise it, I think, to yourself, which is good.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. I think once you've done the strict version once, like, you can kind of figure out what works and what doesn't work for you. Because a lot of people said to me, "Oh, it must be caffeine." I mean, it must be caffeine. Your diet's great, because my diet's generally pretty decent. So it was like, oh, it must be caffeine. I was like, if you think I'm going to cut out caffeine again, I'd rather have gut health issues and drink caffeine than be without it. Yeah. So I was like, nah, I'd actually rather have a sore stomach like once or twice a week and drink caffeine than cut it out. And like, yeah. So yeah. So you guys are how I was reading your website and stuff, and you guys got into looking at gut health through a study with KCL. Is that right?
Yeah. So we volunteered for twin research years ago, like mainly because it's like it's like a free health test,
right?
Because they do a lot of medical studies on twins, and we just wanted to raise awareness because the average age of their volunteers was like in their 60s and 70s, so they needed some younger twins to do studies on, because actually for scientific research twins are the perfect constant. And they like discover loads of stuff in twins' bodies, and also physiologically we wanted to understand what was different between us, because everyone always compares our personalities and how we look, but we wonder what is actually different. And also like the whole nature nurture question, because we were apart for 5 years, and just to see what's changed. And then Tim Spector was like, one day he was like, do you guys want to do this new study we're doing, like the Human Genome Project? And just started, but it was finishing up in New York, and then the American Gut Project was just sort of starting up, and it hadn't really come to the UK yet. And he was like, do you guys want to be the first set of twins to have your guts analysed and sequenced? And we were like, aye. And he was like, it means that you've got to send your poo off every day and have colonoscopies and stuff. And we were like, aye, that's fine.
Okay.
So they realised from our bodies that we only had, I think the first study, we only had like 30% the same microbiome.
Right, wow.
Obviously we've got 100% the same DNA, and we were working together at the time still and living in the same city. So the fact that our microbiome was so diverse and different was quite big. And then he went on to study, I think, 200 more sets of twins after us.
The same thing.
And the same thing, essentially.
And then he started doing like other experiments on us, like putting us on a diet where we would just eat like processed foods for a whole month and drink loads of alcohol. We were so ill. I mean, it was fun for the first week, and then we were like, ugh. And then so the exact same diet, and then the next month we would just do like really gut friendly veggie. Like we did Hello Fresh for a month.
We did like human food bars.
So they just really started. This was like 3 or 4 years ago now, but they just started doing different sort of experiments on us, and then we became really passionate about it. And we were fascinated because I've had arthritis since I was 7, and just like different illnesses that we've had through the years that the doctors could never understand why I had it and Lisa didn't, or vice versa. And it all started to come like into fruition, and we were just fascinated by it. But our main thing was like, so they obviously found out the link to arthritis through other research as well, and then the links obviously to Parkinson's and mental health and, you know, heart disease. And our dad died at 58 of a heart attack, and so that was something that was really close to us. And we started to think like, was that to do with what he was eating and his microbiome, or you know, is it because he came from a working class family and his microbiome was buggered anyway? Was there anything they could do? And we came in, and then we got really angry that, you know, unless you read The Guardian or The Times, you didn't know any of this, especially and we're lucky now that it's coming into public consciousness.
It was kind of like the perfect storm as well, because it was just sort of as the Instagram clean eating hype was rising. And because people our age and everyone now just doesn't know what to eat because social media was dictating, underqualified people were telling us what to eat. And what looks good on Instagram, they were saying it is good for us and good for our bodies. And if we can't be sold the same diet, then nobody can. If the identical twins can't, then nobody can. So we were, there isn't, the thing that's lacking in diet and health and lifestyle is science-based journalism on diets and stuff. So we were like, I wonder if we could just go straight to the scientists, because we realised as well that the scientists don't necessarily speak to the clinicians, don't speak to the dietitians, so the public, but it gets down to public consciousness, that it's kind of a bit diluted. And we were like, why does no one know about this? I think pharmaceutical companies aren't making money out of it. The research is still quite new, and that dialogue isn't open yet.
Yeah, and I think it's getting to that tipping point now. When you mentioned the sort of Instagram age, and the whole clean eating and all that kind of stuff, like that's almost now getting to the point where the typical sort of diet misinformation was at a few years ago. Like when I started working with people, it was trying to sort of help them get through the sort of bullshit of traditional diet, so the sort of Slimming Club era, the meal replacement era, and all that stuff. And now I think people are actually starting to become a little bit more savvy with that. Like they know they shouldn't be doing it, but they don't know what to do. And now they're looking to people like bloggers and Instagram and all that stuff. And now they're presented with a completely new set of confusing like a completely new set of confusing information. And now people are coming to me and they're saying like, look, I know I shouldn't be going to a diet club, I know that's not right, but now I'm seeing all this stuff on clean eating and gut health, and now I'm confused about that. And now I'm working with a completely new set of people who know they shouldn't be replacing meals with powders, even though the vast majority still will do it.
Yeah.
They know they shouldn't be going to diet clubs and slimming clubs because they're demonising certain foods as being good and bad.
Yeah.
And now they're starting to listen to me talk about gut health a little bit. Now, by no means am I qualified in a way where I can start to prescribe people certain diets for gut health. However, I'm in a position of trust, I would say, and in a position where people are listening to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And now it's like, right, okay, I need to be able to give people the correct information. So by speaking to people like you guys who have taken part in studies, and you look on social media like the types of people that just want to give the right information. Speaking to people like you and people like Jeanette and getting all different opinions on gut health, but coming from a research-driven perspective.
Yeah,
I think it's really important.
I think it's very difficult to be prescriptive about gut health as well, because everyone's so unique. Like everyone, what do I have to eat? What do I have to eat? And you're like, well, there is obviously big, broad, brushstroke things that you can do, like variety, polyphenols, prebiotics, probiotics, getting enough sleep, fasting, intermittent fasting, and all that sort of thing. But actually, you've just got to sort of take things out and put things back and work it out for yourself. And I think that's why, hopefully in the next 10 years, things like Map My Gut, and everyone should hopefully, our goal is that everyone can affordably get their guts analysed and figure out what's going on in there. Because actually, doctors don't have to have not even 1 hour of nutrition when they train to be a doctor. And I think that's something that we feel really passionately about, that actually you can change your health. I mean, the food is medicine thing, that's been around for years, and you can read about that everywhere. But
then it's hard because, and especially in gut health, antibiotics are like the devil, seemingly. But if you've got E. coli, you're going to need to set a thing antibiotics. And it's about it's about giving people the tools, so they know if they had antibiotics, they have to have some probiotics after. Giving people the tools to be able to come to their own decision as well, and what's good for them. But when we spoke to the scientists, they were very much about that. The research is still very new. We're not at a stage yet where we can say to everyone, you have to do this, or you can't, because the research is only 10 years old, which for us, we were like, that's so long. And they were like, no,
it's not really.
No, it's like yesterday.
Yeah.
We need to do.
I think as well it's dangerous because people always I think it's like a cultural thing that people link diets to restriction and weight loss, when actually a diet is just what you eat. Yeah. It's not, it doesn't have to, but I think it's like when we're younger, we're told like, here's a treat, it's a sweetie, or you get your sweeties taken away from you, it's restrictive if you're bad or you're naughty, and it's like, it's that psychological thing that I think we need to push through, like adding stuff to your diet is also super important. And it's just, I think there's a lot of shifts that need to happen. First, well, like, we're by no means qualified. We've just taken part in the study and we got to speak to the scientists. But I think it's quite good for us because we're like, look, we're just presenting the information and take for it what you will. And now it's like we've got a proper, this is our office has got a proper business because all we wanted to do primarily was just raise awareness.
And the thing is as well, like with gut health, is that we try and explain to people, like especially people like our mum's like, you're being really preachy. And like, okay, but what we're trying to like explain to like our friends and our family is that this isn't a fad. Like this is the future. This is this new technology and science coming out is going to change the way that we live and the way that our healthcare system is, and the quicker we can all know about it, the better. And it's not just like an Atkins diet or a 5-2 or anything like that. Like this is the future, and it's about getting that message across as well.
It's just about like how important what we put in our bodies is. We've all sort of known if you eat good things and you feel better, but even learning stuff like 95% of your serotonin is created in your gut. And we spoke to an epidemiologist that was like, what you eat, like you can mutate your DNA. So what you eat affects your kids and your grandkids, and you pass that on. So it's like nuts. You're like, oh my god, actually, maybe
this is blowing my mind.
Yeah, it is. It's like I would say I'm borderline obsessed by it, like about learning about it. So talk me through a little bit. Let's go back to the beginning of when you first started to get interested in gut health, and talk me through what process that you went through. Tell me a little bit about what your diet was like before this all happened and your lifestyle, and then talk me through how you got interested in it and what's changed and how you are now.
Before the twin research, we were like fad diet queens. Like we would try, like, and we'd like challenge each other, like, shall we do the Atkins this week? And it was, or one of us would do the Atkins and one of I'm always a stone heavier. Right. Even if we do the same thing, and we actually realised through the studies that I had a lot less Christensenella, which is like the sort of the bacteria is linked to the skinny. I mean, I hate using that word, but it is the lean gene. And I had shitloads of it, and I had none of it, and I was like, oh, cheers, could you give me some? But yeah, we were always on fat diet, and because of our lifestyle, like working at night and being on tour a lot. We just like it was like a family or a feast. Either we were in London doing loads of hot yoga and doing the 5-2, or drinking the cayenne pepper and lemon juice and all that. Oh, remember that
cabbage soup diet? Remember that? Adelaide, do you remember that? Or we were on tour eating McDonald's at 4 a.m. or whatever, and it was just like
two extremes. But it was all for, we weren't actually thinking about what was going on the inside. We were thinking about how we were looking on the outside. So yeah, then we did all the twin research, and then it obviously all started to come into. It was almost like fate a bit that we started doing that, and we started realizing that it's more so what's on the inside than what's on the outside. And then ever since we've done the research, we completely changed our diets. I mean, not to the point where we're angels, and I hate all that thing where it's like this angelic, where especially the clean eating thing. It's like
food's bad food.
I love a bottle of vodka on a Saturday night. Do you know what I mean?
So do I, as it would appear from last Saturday.
And have fun and go out for dinners and not be restrictive. So gut health was a bit of a revelation for us, because it is all about adding stuff rather than taking it away. So we've definitely shifted our diets, but we haven't changed as people, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, like I think it's just about making the decisions more consciously. So you kind of think, actually, what I'm putting in is going to affect a lot of things, not just how I feel, or it's like can affect what I'm going to like. Do you know what I mean? Like what I could potentially die of, what diseases I'm susceptible to, my mental health, which is actually one of the things that really kind of struck a chord with me. And we've just added lots. So I make kombucha and kefir. I mean, if someone had told me 3 years ago that I was going to be making kombucha in my house, I would have been like, eh? I didn't even know what an avocado was until 5 years ago. Do you know what I mean? Like, Camino, we're from Scotland, Camino over that.
Yeah.
But actually, it does make you feel better. And like my stomach is like it functions better. I'm happier.
And I think we've been quite lucky that we've never actually suffered from like gut health issues in terms of like obviously bigger, wider illnesses, but like IBS, which is 1 in 3 people suffer from IBS now, which is insane.
I don't know what's IBS. I think it's 1 in 3 stomach issues,
like stomach issues, or like IBD or whatever, which is mad. And I just think that's so debilitating for people's lives. And you know, such small changes in your diet and gut health is really going to help you. But we sort of struggle with trying to get the message across because it is so personalised. So it's hard. It's hard to make big sweeping statements. And what works for Lisa, like I like fasting, but you can't go and tell young 15-year-old girls not to eat.
Yeah,
Do you know what
exactly.
I mean? That's just dangerous. So whereas if Lisa tries to fast, she's very hangry. Like to the point where you have to like stay away from her. And that's just like one element of gut health. So even if we can't be the same, then.
But I think that the main thing, and I think that's what you've alluded to a bit as well, Rachel, is like just the first message is the importance, and then once the researchers further on, you'll get the practicalities and get the sort of lifestyle changes and choices that people should be making. I think now everyone just recognises that actually it's a bit more important than we thought, and this whole second brain that's going on can affect more things than just what we put out.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of people don't really, like, even I didn't realise a few years ago now, I was diagnosed with IBS when I was 19. I'm 33 now, and through the journey of however many years it is, God, feels like forever. I suffered from anxiety, depression, really, really bad, associated with IBS. Now that, and at that point, my doctor's words to me when I was 19 was, and this is verbatim, you need to go home, Google it, and learn how to live with it. And that was all I got. I got a prescription for antispasmodics. I got a prescription for Imodium. I got a prescription for peppermint oil capsules, and told that was it. Like, that was it for me. I had to learn to live with it. Now, the 19-year-old girl who was absolutely obsessed with things like travelling, backpacking, doing all sorts of random like stuff, but like suddenly out of nowhere I was stopped in my tracks. I couldn't be that person anymore because I couldn't leave the house, because I was suddenly like overcome with gut issues to the point where I was actually scared to leave the house. And that escalated and escalated and escalated until, you know, a few years later I had managed to do a little bit of research. It was nothing. I mean, back then nobody really knew. It was just...
And no one talked about it openly as well. That's the main thing, because it was obviously I mean, it's been going on for ages, and there just wasn't an open forum about it. So
no, there wasn't. It was embarrassing. If you had IBS and you were running to the toilet here, there, and everywhere, it was embarrassing. I'm not embarrassed to talk about it now. I couldn't give a shit, literally. But back then, it was so embarrassing. It was like, oh God, I can't tell anybody about this. It was so like, and now when I look back, I think, well, no wonder my mental health was affected, because my gut was so screwed up. And I thought there was something wrong with me. I thought it was me. I thought, oh God, there must be something wrong with me. Why am I so down? Like, I have nothing to be down. I have nothing to be depressed about. I've got a great job, which I love, and I'm like, fuck. Like, looking back, I think, well, my guts were in such a mess that there's such a massive connection between your gut and what goes on in your brain.
Like all the stuff that's coming out about the vagus nerve. Like when we interviewed Ray Chowdhury, he's like the sort of spearheading the research between gut health and Parkinson's. Right. And the guy that actually founded Parkinson's 200 years ago said that it starts in the gut, and people chose to ignore the research. Right. And because the vagus nerve, they've realised, obviously, you know, that not only do the signal travels down the way, so when you're nervous, or you're worried, you get butterflies in your tummy, but also the signals travel up the way. So toxins and stuff from your stomach can affect your mental health, and that's obviously and I think probably 19-year-old you knowing that, it would have helped you loads, because you would have been like, right, this is a chemical scientific thing, I can practically try and help it, rather than the sort of the cycle of I can't leave the house, so that's getting me down and blah blah. Someone had told
yeah, because I'm very science. Like I'm always been science. Like if I can't see it in front of me, it doesn't exist to me anyway. And that's why I think it was such a massive problem for me when I was like, I can't just Google it and learn how to live with it. I need somebody to tell me this is what's happening. This is what you need to do. And I was like, what? Like, and it was obviously all there, but no one was talking about it. And even now when I go to my GP, because I have had a bit of a bad bout of it over the last few months, even now I went to my GP with all this research and she absolutely hated me for it. And I was like, this is what's going on. Like, this is what's going on inside my gut. I need you to listen to me. And she was like, I've been a GP for, no offence to GPs at all, but like you say, they don't need to learn nutrition. She said, in all my 28 years of being a GP, I've never even heard of the word microbiome. And I was like, like, what? And I was like, listen, let's just end this here because this is not going anywhere.
Have
you tried Simprove?
Yes, I have. I have 4 more bottles of it downstairs actually. I need to speak to them today because I actually didn't know whether it was making me feel worse.
You've got to be careful when you're doing it. I think it's just like anything. You just have to what I've learned as well is like having like being in tune and mindfulness with your body, because we just race through life and take things that are going to be a quick fix and things that people tell us, but actually a lot of it is like writing a food diary and sitting down and working out what your triggers are, what makes you feel, because like especially with us women as well, like your hormones are so much like that's a massive thing. Like the week before my period, my stomach is always shit. It's because my hormones are like
same here.
But it's like, listen, it might not work for you. Do you know what I mean? And stuff like, because we have to try loads of different. We always say like before we tweak something or put it on the website or whatever, we both try it. And even then, if it works for us, it might not work for other people. It's just like,
that's it. That's it. What? So whereabouts are you guys now in your gut health journey? What's your next? What's your next project?
We just got partners. So we just partnered with a company called JKR and a comms company called Revolt. And we've got offices and members of staff to raise awareness. We've got series 2 coming out with famous chefs.
Oh, wow, cool.
Recipes. We've got some product lines in the making. And
it's just basically, the first step is to raise awareness, and then we want to give people the tools to be able to do it practically, because it's great, like we've shown all our friends and stuff the YouTube series and they're like, oh my god, this is really interesting, but what can I do to make it better? Or where can I get it tested? So it's about giving people the information but then giving them the tools to be able to work it for them. So that's like the main aim for us just now. Well, trying to still be DJs as well, but
I wanted to talk to you about that as well. So you said when you said you were on tour loads before, I know what you're talking about, but for the people that are listening to the podcast, they were like, oh, what do you mean when you're on tour?
We do. That's what it was like over the summer was just mental, because we were like, we had obviously loads of festivals, and then we did Love Island on Sundays. So we were like literally doing episodes about prebiotics and probiotics, interviewing scientists, and then going to ITV and DJing on Love Island. Just like tale of two worlds. But no, it's good. And I think as well, if the people that we play to in clubs and the sort of 17, 18-year-olds are exactly the sort of people, the next generation, that should be knowing about this stuff. So it's they both kind of go hand in hand, but we don't really sleep all that much. We have to actually fell asleep at 8 o'clock last night and woke up at 8 this morning, so speak for yourself.
You must have needed that.
Okay. We're up in Scotland again next week because we've got lots of freshers. Gigs. So do like a little freshers tour, which is just 3,000 mental students a night, which is great fun. But it's good. It's just like a sort of, I think as well, like it's helped us in a way because we're coming from a completely unbiased point of view. Like we just want to get the word out there, so it's not our like main job, and we never trained. And actually, if someone had told me 2 years ago that you'd have a gut health business, I was like, what? Here we are.
Yeah. I know, it's interesting. Like, I'm obsessed with learning about it, and raising awareness for me is like something I want to start doing with my business. But I kind of need to be careful with my business because it's more of a sort of, well, it started off as a sort of weight loss type nutrition company, and now now I want to raise more awareness for gut health, which is why I'm doing at least a couple of episodes of the podcast on it. So I'm going to do a bit of a video log of my own sort of gut health stuff to help resonate with people out there, because I know there's a lot of people out there probably even listening to this podcast. I know there are a lot of people follow the page as well, because I talk quite openly about my problems with gut health, and I think that's really important.
Honestly, that's the world needs more, because people will talk about urine samples and blood samples, but nobody talks about stool samples.
No.
Just poo. We love poo chat.
Yeah, I'm glad with that. Like, I talk about it all the time, and people start looking at you like, she's talking shit again.
Yeah, literally.
Literally, yeah. You can't have a conversation with me without me talking about my bowels these days. What advice would you give to someone that's listening to this, that's going, oh my God, I want to learn more about gut health. I want to find out about my microbiome and what I can do to be better. And what would you say is the first thing that you would advise someone?
Julie Ender's book. Yeah, Julie Ender's book.
Oh,
The Gut.
It's so good.
Yeah, she followed us on Twitter the other day with your fangirls.
Oh, yes.
When artists follow us, we're like, oh my God, this person's followed us. And now we're like, oh my God, Julie Andrews followed us on Twitter. I think she's got a really good introduction to gut health and just explain what the gut is. And then just doing loads of research, really. But before we started the YouTube series, you put gut health into YouTube and it was like one American professor talking about on a TED talk for 2 hours, and you'd literally switch it off after 10 minutes. But there's a lot more now, I think, out there that's more engaging and interactive. So doing that, and then if you can afford it, maybe getting a test done, but they're still about 250 quid, I think. And I think, like, think about it. I'd say be more mindful, keep a food diary. On our website and stuff, we've got like we always keep all the latest articles. We've got like a your stuff bit where it's like we've got like introductory articles in order, like, to read them to kind of get it. And a lot of it is still really scientific jargon, so that's what we've tried to do with the web series. But we asked all the scientists for one bit of advice, because actually we were supposed to interview 6 scientists, and now there's 32 episodes on.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of them eat more fibre. It's a lot of their advice. But yeah, just for now, like for the next year or so, while the research is all still coming out, we would say just read up on it as much as you can, and just don't be scared. Because I think when new research comes out, there's a bit of a scaremongering element, and people just think, oh my God, we don't know what to do anymore because all this new stuff's coming out. But actually, it's a really, really good thing that scientists have recognised this, and that there's things that can be done for people with IBS and IBD, and the spotlight being on it can only be a good thing, I think. Yeah,
I totally agree. How far away do you think we are from the sort of our NHS and GPs and doctors and people at the front, at the front line? How far away do you think we are from that becoming, for someone with IBS like myself, being able to go to the GP and say, my microbiome's fucked, can you help me? Sorry, I swear all the time.
Yeah, I spoke to a few people, the scientists, about this, and they reckon we're about 5 years away from it. The States are different because obviously they've got private healthcare. They're a lot further forward. If you go in the States, they know a lot more. I mean, they've got gut health aisles in their supermarkets. Like, wow. They're really quite far on. I mean, they sell kombucha and kefir and stuff in the local supermarket, which is great. So we're not far off it in the UK, but I think for the NHS, they think 20 years or something for that. Just because to get legislation passed, and like even when we were, for some of the stuff that we do, EU food law and stuff is really behind. So it's difficult to talk about it because some people still see it as a bit woo woo.
Yeah.
But as well, like we've sort of did a few people that have
sort of come to us, because like all our friends are now like, I've got this, what do I do? And I'm like, if you can afford to see a nutritionist, which is obviously a lot cheaper than getting your gut analysed, then maybe a trip to the nutritionist before or after a GP is a good idea as well, just to get two sides of the coin.
Yeah.
But I think for us as well, the main thing, obviously coming from working class Scotland, is we want all the information to be accessible and affordable.
Yeah.
And until now it hasn't been, and that's just like our main goal is, and just get out the scientific jargon and do it to like put it in a language that people understand. But yeah, I think with the NHS thing, I mean, we're going to try our best. We've been speaking to some doctors as well, and hopefully we can infiltrate from the inside a bit.
Yeah, no, definitely, it's really interesting. Anyway, I'll be keeping an eye on what you guys are up to, because it's interesting me if I can try and help myself any better than I will as well. So
anything to find out, we'll let you know first.
Exactly.
Yeah, poo chat.
Groups now that are just a little poo emoji.
Oh yeah. So if anyone that's listening to the podcast wants to find you, what's the best way to go about it? If they want to,
gutstuff.com is the website, and then on socials just at the gut stuff. There's loads, and on YouTube as well, just the gut stuff.
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
Yeah. So if you want to continue the poo chat and get involved in talking about it, then I'll put all your social media channels and stuff in the notes of the show so people can just click through. Thanks very much for coming on.
Yeah, and we're in Glasgow if you're around, doing a talk at a digital marketing thing on the 7th of October, I think it is.
Ah, right, cool.
So we'll let you know. I'll just drop you an email and come along. We'll go for a caffeine-based coffee.
Yes, that sounds like a great idea. I'm going to go and make one now because I've not had one since
I'm going to have another one.
Yeah, a couple of hours at least. Yeah, give me a shout when you're in Glasgow and we'll meet up. All right. Hi guys, Rach here. I really hope you enjoyed that episode of the Walk the Talk podcast. I thought it was an absolute belter. Please make sure you don't forget to leave a review on iTunes for me. It really does make a difference to the way that the podcast gets promoted. And obviously, if you have enjoyed it, it would really mean the world to me if you could leave a review. If you want to get in touch with Lisa and Alana McFarlane from The Gut Stuff, just go to their website, that is www.thegutstuff.com, and you'll also find them in all the usual social media handles, just using the handle @thegutstuff. Thank you so much to the girls for coming on the podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it and I hope you have learned something from it. Please give the podcast a share on social media, just hit the share button, share it with your friends, and give me a little bit of a promo. So thanks again everyone for listening. Have a great day whatever you're up to, and I will see you next week on the podcast. Take care.